Let's transition to the next topic
Okay.
that I had, which was I really want Rocco here for this, but whatever.
all-
We might be able to do a part 2 of this later. But basically, political correctness. I'm doing like something that I've been preaching, like I'm beating a dead horse, is the idea of having an open mind and recognizing the fact that there are caricatures on each side of a political party that believe certain things that you can easily say and paint a picture with all these people are the same, and they're not. And it is an urge that you need to fight. Because the last thing, and I use this analogy a lot, the last thing you want to feel like or do or be a part of is that your political views are akin to being a part of a football team, and you wear that jersey, and no matter what, you need to rep that team and screw the other team just because it's the other team. Like, I like to, like, I see a lot of, again, sorry for the noise, I see a lot of instances where it feels like, imagine this, let's say the Giants don't have Eli Manning. Let's say the Giants have, like,
Jay Cutler.
yeah, let's say Jay Cutler, right? And let's say the Patriots are willing to trade Tom Brady for a 6th-rounder to the Giants. And then the Giants fans are like, hell no, he's bad, he's terrible.
Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't.
And just because I hate the Patriots, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
that would be irrational, and it would not be objective to his skill set. Like, you should take him, and for a 6th-rounder, that's insane. Even Xander agrees.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I see a lot of this, like, hey, this needs to be, and it's like, just because the other side is saying it, they're like, no, that's completely wrong, it's terrible. So, like, I try to preach an open mind. I try to have that open mind. I try to understand where the other side is coming from. And that leads me to a lot of questions. And this topic is a question of political correctness. Like, and I'm hoping you might, because I feel like you're more, right, but more right moderate. You're a libertarian. I feel like I'm myself a libertarian in a lot of ways. And I feel like you might have a good understanding of maybe why this is. But I want to understand what, like, this war on political correctness, why is political correctness so bad? Like, and why is it a bad thing to have? And I'm trying to understand. I have a couple ideas, but I also have a couple things that, like, I would counter with as to why we need it. So I want to ask you first, like, your understanding of this, quote unquote, we are too worried about political. Like, what does that mean to say we are too worried in this country about political correctness?
Because, so if you think about it, we have the right to say and do, virtually what we want. We're supposed to be a free country, okay? Yeah. So, but for political correctness, if, my understanding, if you say something wrong, you just get, it gets blown out of proportion. It goes crazy. Like, why do I have to sit there and tippy-toe around things that I feel and want to say? Now, granted, I'm not saying go out and just bash people and call them every derogatory thing in the world, but if I was to say something, that's my thoughts. Why do I have to be punished for that?
Yeah. So when I hear things like, and I understand, but then my brain, I really want to get into the details of that, because if we paint that as a broad rule stroke feeling, right? Mm-hmm. You can apply that to someone who's like, I feel and think this, and I should just be able to say the N-word.
Right. Okay.
How do you feel about someone's?
I don't think that's right at all. Yeah. I granted, yes, and that's what I'm saying. Is like there should be boundaries, but where you start to, like, go further and further into it, derogatory names and everything of that sort. You don't want to sit there, and it's just to be. You shouldn't say those things to be a good human being.
Yeah. So then, can you give me an example of something that you feel pressure to not say or tippy-toe around? Because I understand that concept, but everything that comes back to is, well, I just want to be able to say derogatory stuff. Like, I want to just call Asian people Orientals. Why can't I do that? It's like, well, they don't want to be called that. And
do they want to be called Asian?
Yeah.
Because they could get mad. What do you mean I'm Asian?
But they don't. And they get mad at Orientals, but they don't get mad at, they want to be called, like, Asian is the appropriate. Oriental is factually incorrect.
Okay.
So not only is it factually incorrect, but it's just not something they want to be called. And so,
right.
Why is that a bad? Why can we not say, hey, look, like, there's a way to correct someone, but, like, I think, in my opinion, it's absolutely understandable to reinforce the fact of, like, hey, that's not what they're called.
Right, of course, yeah. And
So
I'm
I'm
not.
sorry. Do you have an example of something that like you feel tippy-toed around that you should think you should, and maybe this platform isn't the best because you don't want, but like maybe you can give me an example of someone you know or someone you think would think about not wanting, maybe not you personally, but
Yeah, because there's really nothing that because I don't like to just insult people or anything of that sort. I'm actually, I would say, very politically correct. I mean, I don't have those urges to go around saying certain things. I don't care. But what if someone comes up and goes, "Oh yeah, oh, that black guy over there," and they're like, "Oh, what? That's bad." Well, like
right. Okay, that's
you're
a really
sitting
good
there
example.
trying. Yeah, you're sitting there. Okay, you get robbed. Well, what did the guy look like? Do I?
Can I
He
say
was,
black?
or I think he was Oriental. Oh, no, you got to say Asian, or like I don't know, Filipino. I mean, who knows? Like, there's just those
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
things. But I mean, I don't have those urges to say things, but those
Right.
could be
So
construed as being something and not being politically correct. And
okay.
not only that, it's not only just race. I mean, think about like people with special needs. I say like, special needs or something like that. But if someone goes, "Oh, he's retarded," be like, "You used the R word." I'm
Right.
sorry, but that is a term that's used for that. I don't know what his thing is. Now, granted, I don't sit there and say that. I say, special needs, but
Yeah.
that's how someone could feel. Like, and then you get this painted light of that you're insensitive and all this other stuff. Like, no,
Hmm.
maybe I'm just trying to explain. There's something with this person or something of that sort.
Do you think it's how you say it though? Because like if
Oh, of
someone's trying to
course.
explain, like there's a couple examples that you gave that I would comment on, and then like if you're like, well, yeah, he's retarded, is one thing, but
Right.
and I personally I like, and this is so interesting to me to hear. Like this is why I wanted to have this topic because I'm so fascinating, and I'm like mind is like my synapses are firing off as you're explaining all this stuff because they do make sense. It's just my brain doesn't go there. So this is really good because I'm learning a lot. But like in my opinion, and I can see how I'll get into this later, but in my opinion, I don't think that is what people are asking for in political correctness. I
Right.
think they want when you're about to call someone an idiot
Right.
and you say, "Oh man, dude, I was at this movie and this guy is such a fucking retard." And then that's when it's a problem.
And that is, and I'll tell you, like, I don't agree with any of that stuff, and I'm not saying I support all this stuff at all. I'm just giving another side of the spectrum here. I think that you and I think a lot alike on that. I think that people shouldn't just go around screaming certain words
Yeah.
or calling people certain things because they are hurtful, and it's dependent on the person that's getting like receiving these things.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have the effect. Granted, just because a person has the right to say whatever they want,
Mhm.
sometimes it's not right to say that.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's the best way I could say it. Yeah, you have the right, but it's not a right thing to do as a person, and you don't want to. I guess there are people out there that just want to be, edgy and rude and just tries to push people's buttons, but. Why? What's the point? Let's all be human beings. Let's all be nice to each other. And yes, I understand political correctness, definitely, but that's just the side of the spectrum that I could think of.
This is okay. I have a theory, and
Okay.
my theory is that this war on political correctness is a fallacy.
Hmm.
It is a fiction. It is very similar to this idea that our guns are going to get taken away.
Yeah, and that's what I think is the mindset of a lot of people is that they sit there and go, oh, okay, well, this is the start of this, and it's just going to roll into, they think probably the end game is everything you say has to roll through a lawyer first
Right.
at some point,
And you're
But
and you will be publicly shamed and humiliated, and you will
you'll
lose
lose
your
your
job.
job. Yeah, you'll lose this and that, and
Because I don't think anybody is sitting on one side going, "You can never say the word retard." Right?
yeah,
It's how we're explaining how you need to not say it in such a negative way or
or
an offensive way, right? Like where you're talking about someone's being dumb and you're using the word
yeah,
retard, right? Like I really don't think anybody's sitting there going like, no, like, right? But the other side is thinking there's tons of people saying that I'm not gonna be able to do this, and it's two sides thinking, that this fake thing is gonna happen, right? Like, and then that just builds, and I feel like they're both thinking these things that are not going to happen are going to happen, and they're talking about a big like what if scenario that they're
right.
arguing about, and that's because I can't, like, there's nothing tangible for me to like grasp at this, like, we need to be more politically correct, or we can't have political correctness rule our lives. I'm like, what is ruling your life? Like, you had mentioned, like, you could see someone being fearful about, like, oh, you got whatever, like, what did he look like? When you are asked to describe someone, yeah, you can say black person, or you can say African American, or you know what I mean? Like, that's fine. I think when it gets very touchy, which I would have to think about more, but I think where that might be considered not politically correct, or even like just you could clean up your speak a little bit and make it more modern, is when you're describing a story. And I see this more with an older age, but when they're like, oh, I was at the movie theater and this guy, he was black. He started getting very rude. It's like, well,
and why does that have any point of it? Yeah.
Right. And I think that is what people are talking about when they're saying you don't need to bring that part up. It's not like I was robbed. He was 6'2". He was black. Like, you're describing someone. It makes contextual sense. Right. When you're talking about a story where his race or gender or religion has literally nothing to do, you just feel compelled to tell the other person. Yeah. That's when it's like, well, he was Jewish.
And we were out to dinner. Okay, why does that fucking matter?
Why does that matter? And it's also like, I think it's just an effort to, like, it's really, because here's what it's hitting a chord with a subconscious, like, mind, right? Like, I think a lot of, like, people sit here and go, no, I'm not a racist. It's like, okay, we had this with Yukiko. And a lot of this is subconscious. You really might not want or think you're racist, but you might do certain things that just are. And you're not a bad person. It's just this is just stuff that you have. Like, we as a collective society would really benefit from trying to purge from our subconscious, to try to, like, get rid of, like, when I'm describing a TV show and I'm like, hey, man, that guy was so funny. You're like, which guy? And I immediately go, oh, the black guy. Like, I am subconsciously defining someone by their skin. Right. And in an effort to just get rid of that, I'm trying to train myself, which is where maybe some of this political correctness of being like, dude, why do I have to learn this? And it could be hard to see. It's like, yeah, I could be like, no, the short guy who made that joke, like, if he was white, I probably would just say that anyway. I wouldn't say white guy, right?
Right.
And so I think that's where, because it's a little bit more complex, I think that's where people are like, why does that matter? And it's like, you're not a bad person. I'm just saying, like, if you did this, I think if we all did this, subconsciously, we might be better as human beings, because we wouldn't see each other through that lens, right?
What if we just started saying, the fairly looking girl, or the okay looking guy, just like kind of start doing it on how good they look,
that
ugly motherfucker over there.
I think it would bring its own problems, but that would be hilarious. I almost want to start doing that. Yeah, dude. The host, the number 5.
Yeah.
Wait, which one's number 5? We're all hosts.
Yeah, exactly. The fairly good looking one,
That's awesome. Oh, man. So I think, man, this is so interesting, and I wish people on both sides would have these types of conversations more, because I really think, like, any relationship, like, and I'm sure you've been there, having a wife or any long-term relationship, you don't talk about something like this. You have these preconceptions and these assumptions, and your brain goes to the immediate most thing that you think the other person's right? And, like, you're just like, nah, they probably think I can't say it, and that's ridiculous, and blah, 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 and fuck them, because they want, like, I feel like there are 59 million people on each side of this relationship not talking to each other. And it's a shame, because... And that's just, anytime I'm on Facebook, anytime I'm in a social media, because that seems to be a platform, it's just, hey, remember, just ask questions. Don't immediately paint everybody with one picture. Like, ask them, learn. Like, why do you feel that way? Because I bet we can talk about this a little bit, and maybe we can clear the air about what I'm actually asking and what you're actually afraid of, and we can kind of come to a conclusion there. And I think, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I
was just going to, like, I'm just trying to think of all the other things that could have led to this political correctness, and I think we talked about a couple of them. The other one might have been, like, the Washington Redskins situation.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's extremely racist, but that company just said, no, we're not changing it. And they have that right. But I mean, if a whole community goes, no, that is racist,
like, and here's the other thing is, like, I've heard, and it ties into that. It's like, I've heard people be like, no, it's too politically correct. I should, like you said, I should just feel what I want to say is what I say. If I understand them as Orientals or I understand them as Redskins or whatever, that's my freedom to say. It's like, yeah, okay, that's absolutely valid. What we're asking for is to treat this, because it is the same thing of when you meet someone and you're like, oh, hi, my name's Michael. It's, oh, hey, Michael, do you like to be called Mike, Michael, Mr. Blah, blah? You're being respectful, and you're asking how they like to be called. Like, if someone was like, hey, Michael, was like, hey, I just like Mike. If you would do that, you would say, oh, okay, hey, Mike. They're asking for respect, and this is an act of showing respect. How do you want to be called? I will call you that way.
Well, and think of this, okay? So my name is not a very common name, and people always, like, even like if I'm on a phone call, they're like, "Oh, Ian, are you Irish?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually I am. I'm part Irish."
Yeah.
But like, I don't get upset at it, but it really, everything is perception. I guess that's the right word, like how people perceive you. So if you're out there using certain words that people find offensive, then they have this thought of you being like, and I'm not saying that it's right, but you got to be mindful for what you say. Be a decent human being. Don't just use certain language in a tone or a concept of being degrading, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like you said, oh, that guy's retarded. Like why use that? Just say, oh, use some other word, whatever it could be, because there's actually people out there with a disability, and that isn't that
it's also
category.
people who know those people with disabilities that hurt.
Right.
Like, you can have a brother, sister, or father, or something, or like relative. Like,
You never know.
like, damn, that hurts, because like that person's not just a retard. That person's a real human to me. And I love that person. And when you hear retard, you start thinking about all the negative connotations that come with that disease.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I know we're thinking, oh, these crybaby liberals, they're just like, get over it, just tougher skin. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's so easy for maybe someone to say that doesn't have to worry about that. But like, man, if this person's really hurting inside, and that's adding an emotional reaction, then like, can you just have respect for this person that has to go through that every day, and just, can we just not say, like, I know that seems silly because they're feeling like they're gonna cry, or they're feeling that their feelings are hurt, and that seems like a baby thing, but like, god damn it, dude, they have to live with this. They have to see someone they love go through something very hard every day. Just be respectful, like, regardless if they need tough skin or not.
Yeah, and who cares about, I don't even know where I was going to think of that thought, basically, but why does it matter? Why do you have to use certain terms and certain words? Yeah. Are you just trying to be mean? Or are you just trying to be rude?
I think so.
What's the point?
And I guess that goes to the other part of this is like, and there is a time, like, retard can be used very funny, but it's in a way that like South Park does it. Like, South Park makes fun of everyone.
And that's what I was thinking. They're brilliant at it.
That's
they
okay.
Have no whole bars with them. They'll sit there and it doesn't matter. They'll even make fun of their own self.
Right.
They're Canadian, and look at
what
they rag on Canadians all day.
Yeah, it's when you target one thing,
right,
and it's not satirical. Is when it's a problem. And so I think that's another part of it, is like a lot of people who are like feeling this pressure to be PC feel like it's cringe, like, I can't make a joke, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you can make a joke, but like, you have to be careful, because people don't know you. Their first impression is that the only thing that you do is make fun of retarded people or make fun of black people. Like, they don't have the luxury of having, 7 seasons of your jokes to watch and be like, oh, he makes fun of everyone. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean it. So, yeah, I mean, you should be able to joke, but like, just understand your audience, right, at the same time.
You know what's funny is that I never have a pressure to be politically correct, because I guess in my life and in my mind, granted, yeah, I make fun of people and stuff like that, or I make fun of myself, my family members, we joke and have fun, but I just never have that feeling of, oh, I need to be politically correct right now, just because I'm I'm not going to say I'm a good human being,
I'm an okay person.
Yeah, I'm not a complete asshole, but but I've had my tendencies of being an asshole, kind of. But I mean, it just, why do people have this thought that they have to be so PC? Because I don't experience that in my life.
Yeah.
Just because I guess I don't use that language, and I was raised to never use that language or a certain language that is hurtful for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and I don't want to come off as like, oh, an insensitive prick or something like that,
But I mean, we all do it. I mean, I've been like, dude, that retard, or what are you, retarded? Or like, I'll say, oh man, that's so gay. Like I used to say it all the time, and that's just
that's
something we
actually
have to-
two things that I used to say when I was younger. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and think of that. Like, it's not just race or anything. It's your sexual origin or what you do in your life. But those were two things that I guess would say when I was younger. Because I mean, think about that. In the '90s, that's what every
that's
kid
all
said.
you would say, yeah.
Yeah. And I made it a point years and years ago to not use those two terms because I was like, you know what? I don't think that's nice. So I don't use those. That's not even in my vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah,
Technically.
man.
But
But you slip every so often, and like, and the important, like, and that brings me to the other, like, it's easy for us to sit me like this is why we want you to be more understanding and respectful. I don't even really like the damn term politically correct. I don't want somebody to be politically correct because it has such negative connotations. I just want you to be respectful and understanding of the other person, right?
yeah.
But we, of those who are pushing for this, also have to be understanding and respectful of the time it takes to break those bad habits, right? Because I absolutely agree with the other side in the sense of like, if I say one thing or had said one thing, my life shouldn't be ruined. And you're right.
Of
Your
course,
life shouldn't
no.
be ruined.
No,
And,
and
you should feel free to make mistakes, as long as like you didn't mean, you know what I mean, or if you can understand that you're like, okay, that was a problem. I am trying to get better. It slipped. Like, we don't need to jump and kill someone for saying you said black person to describe you. Now we're never gonna get a job again, right? So we just need to be understanding that takes time and progress. Like, we're not perfect, so there's just, man, both sides, dude. We can do this. They could figure it out. All right, that might actually be a two-parter because that was quite long.
Okay.
And it was very interesting for me. Anyway, I don't know about the tens of millions who watch this show.
Okay, Baldy. Okay. I'm gonna start just
Yeah,
using...
whatever, Baldy.